Trent Robinson has won 3 premierships at the Sydney Roosters. He won in his maiden season in 2013, and then won back-to-back premierships in 2018 and 2019. This is an impressive record, no doubt, and probably would have stood as a generational achievement in the history books if Penrith hadn't won 4 in a row so immediately afterwards. The Roosters since 2019, however, haven't appeared in a single grand final, and have only made the prelims once. That being in 2024, when they were pretty definitively beaten by the Storm, who went on to lose themselves to the Panthers a week later. They weren't exactly contenders. The Roosters, perhaps the richest and most powerful club in the league, have struggled for that high-end success in the 2020s. A narrative can easily be woven about Trent Robinson's era at the Roosters, that they aren't the giants perhaps their reputation would imply. And in fact, in all those previous premiership winning years, those successes were the result of the richest and most powerful club in the league, spending a little bit of money. 2013 was the year Sonny Bill Williams came to the club. 2018 was notably the year the Roosters bought both James Tedesco and Cooper Cronk, the 2 definitive best players in their respective positions, and 2 of the top 5 players in the world at the time. Those premiership years were emboldened by recent, extremely high-profile purchases that granted the club that high-end success. It is following Cooper Cronk's retirement in 2019, along with some other notable retirements and losses like Latrell Mitchell, Boyd Cordner, and Jake Friend, that the Roosters have fallen from that high-end success. Now, I'm certainly no expert, and results-based analysis with the benefit of hindsight is definitely a flawed way in judging one of the, on paper, most successful coaches of the modern NRL era, but there is certainly a narrative afoot about the Roosters and Trent Robinson's modern success here. And believe it or not, they've gone back to the well coming into the 2026 season. In a mirror to 2018, the Roosters have once again brought 2 new spine players of great renown to the club. They've bought their new hooker Reece Robson, the incumbent New South Wales number 9, and former Queensland captain and halfback Daly Cherry Evans. You can't help but feeling they're trying to repeat the success of 2018 and 19. Have the Roosters bought another one? This echoing of the past, and the demonstrated potential of their respectable 2025 season, has led to them kind of being the cool hot pick for premiership favourites in 2026. The bookies generally have them as 4th favourites behind Penrith and last year's grand finalists, so the hype isn't all posturing from would-be trendsetters. They're also the freshest choice out of the favourites, which kind of, in a weird way, makes them the team most would probably root for out of the 4, just by the virtue of it being a different outcome. Can't believe we're saying that about the Roosters, huh? There is motion for the Roosters. And besides general excitement, there is strong upside that props them up as potential favourites. They have an incredible roster, a top 4 roster on paper. Here are the predicted teams by ZeroTackle.com and the NRL website for them for 2026. An incredible forward pack, possibly the best in the competition, and similar could be said about their backline. Additionally, neither of these predictive teams includes Fekete or Hugo Savala, 2 absolute first-grade quality players the Roosters have at their disposal. They've got great depth as well. It is also the final years at the club for Nwanga Nitawase and longtime Rooster Angus Crichton, who are both going to rugby after this year to play for the Wallabies in the World Cup. As well as it possibly being the final year for long-time club winger and the only active Rooster to have been a part of all 3 of those previously mentioned grand finals, Daniel Tupou. So there's some extra fairy dust for the potential fairy tale. The Roosters are in prime position for the 2026 season. They're in the best position they've probably been in since 2019. But that's not to say there aren't areas of doubt also. People have been questioning the Daly Cherry Evans acquisition since it was first rumoured months before it was officially announced. Daly last year was dropped from Origin, losing his state captaincy after the first game in the series. And he didn't exactly have an inspired back end of 2025 either. His final season at his lifetime club, landing Manly outside the top 8, finishing 10th. His defence has increasingly been brought under scrutiny, as has his age in recent times. He's currently the oldest and most experienced player in the entire competition. This has its obvious advantages and disadvantages. There's also the idea that they will probably have the smallest half pairing in the entire competition that will be ripe for big back rowers to exploit. Sam Walker and Daly are both small, even for halves, and this will no doubt be a target for opposing teams. Roosters. There is also the freshness of it all that might be worrying. 2 new spine players, Sam Walker, who's not played the most football in recent years due to his injuries, and an aging James Tedesco out the back, might have trouble coming together and synergizing, especially early in the season. Even when they won the Premiership back in 2018, the Roosters didn't open the competition well. A round 1 loss to the Tigers, 4-4 after 8 rounds, it wasn't the prettiest start, even for Cooper Cronk. They were resilient then, and saw it through. But the pressure will be worse if something similar or worse happens at the beginning of 2026. The Hounds and Journos will be circling, since their line is already questioning the necessity of the Daly signing. It won't be pretty if Daly's seen to be floundering early in the 2026 season. We've spent most of this video talking about him. This season for the Roosters really does come down to Daly Cherry Evans, I think. Whether he succeeds and has the fairy tale ending, bookending his career with Premiership glory, or if he falls short and this is remembered as a cheap attempt by the Roosters to recreate the success they saw in 2018 with Cooper Cronk. The drama here makes the Roosters one of my most anticipated teams to watch going into 2026. Sink or swim, we'll see. For what it's worth, I've always been a fan of Daly. I took great joy in his comeback to Origin in 2018, and in his continual success as Queensland captain from there. I'm rooting for him, and I think it more likely works than doesn't work. In the end, I definitely have the Roosters in the top 8, probably pushing top 4 status come the end of the season. But also, fuck the Roosters. I don't like the Roosters.